another 20 minutes on this movie. So you
Oh
got,
no,
I guess.
but in other words, just shifting these
Oh,
events in the movie earlier
oh, got
and
it.
then making it so that they were on the same team for more of the running time.
Not just
So,
being lied through the entire
so that
film.
she was in on what was going on for more. Get the lies out earlier in the film, meet her a little earlier in the film, and just have it intermingled with all these other scenes that we're seeing. Because the order, it matters, but it's adjustable, some of
Hmm.
the scenes. But again, at the end, I felt happy because they won. I didn't necessarily feel happy directly for Kurt Russell and Deborah Harmon,
Hmm.
you know, being together at the end. It didn't have the warm fuzzy quite that, it's nice, but it wasn't quite there. I didn't feel like they did this together as much. Although it was fun, the whole scene with them getting the cars and they're in the back of the car together. You know, Jack Warden has a wrench to her, like holding her hostage.
Oh
Kurt
man.
Russell comes over, like, but give me one more substantial scene, if you will,
Yeah.
of the movie. I'm not saying 20 more minutes of her, but of the movie where they're on the same side. I think that would have helped it a lot. Um,
One funny line was one of the producers was like, "Why did you guys shoot at a bowling alley? Like, you know how loud
right.
that is? Like, that's what made that was." And so then they had to have people fake bowling in the background.
I do love though that he's like, you just won yourself a dinner for two at the finest restaurant in town, and I just might throw myself in. And he's like, oh, great salad bar, you're gonna love it. Airline lanes, a
Yeah.
bowling alley near an airport. Like how just he just picked the cheapest place he could think of,
Oh, but he
obviously.
said it's the greatest. Oh man, but he's honest about his dishonesty. Like you kind of know he's shifty. So hey, I have a
What?
question. Real quick, John.
Okay.
Do you want to jump into our listener question, or do you have some more stuff to cover
I
on this
just wanted
movie?
to mention one other character that we haven't mentioned,
Uh-oh.
the dog.
Oh yeah, what a great dog. Oh, you killed the dog.
That dog, though, was throughout the movie. That dog wasn't a one scene gag
Yep.
like Snot was in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which was a great gag with a great dog ad, right? But this dog is throughout the movie a great character. The dog, Fuchs says, like, get me an Allen, whatever, a Phillips head screwdriver. And then the dog comes back with the screwdriver after it gets it out of the toolbox and he says, I said a Phillips head. And the
Yeah.
dog runs and gets something else. The dog is running to get help all the time. The dog is trying to thwart off evil brother Fuchs multiple times.
Hmm.
The dog pees on, I can't think of his name's head, who's always asleep.
Hmm.
Pees on his
Oh,
head,
Jim's.
Jim's head, to get him to come see what happened, that they discovered where that thing is. Like, and then yeah, the scene with Garrett Graham and the dog and the guy who was watching the nudie pirated commercial to buy the car. That dog's okay. I was a little alarmed actually. I didn't notice this. My cousin said something. At first, I was thinking this is the best dog acting I've ever seen. That dog goes so limp. I actually wondered if they sedated him.
Yeah. I mean, they've done it in the past.
But either way, that scene was so great. That dog was adorable and did some awesome things and felt like a character, a
Most
minor
val-
character.
MVD, most valuable dog.
Definitely.
Even the dog
That's
had character. The dog was likable, and this the wrench. And, oh man, I love this movie. I'm happy I own it now. I'm happy the Show Factory released this like legit edition of it. Makes me so. It makes up for the Escape from LA one that has absolutely nothing on it, and they upcharge like $27. Sorry, I'm still salty about that, John. I love Escape from LA, but come on, Shout, that wasn't very good. Now, do you want to get into this funky listener question we got?
okay. So yeah. So my lab mate at the USDA entomology lab here, well, not here now. I'm not there now, but my lab mate Michael sent in something of a thesis. So to that extent, over the years, we've had some very long listener questions, and there was a time when we thought that like 3 lines in an email was long, and then my buddy Dirty D Dylan in Australia gave us a super long one, and I
Mm-hmm.
think in the last calendar year, Johnny Num gave us a super long kind of thesis like question and thesis thing. But here we go. This pertains to used cars, was kind of the theme. It's more about the movie Pixar's Cars. So Michael says, Pixar's Cars, fun kids movie with a terrifying background? It's no secret that Pixar movies are prepared with Easter eggs from other movies, but this got me thinking. While watching the movies for the 15th time with my 18-month-old son, I got to thinking, how did the Cars world come to be? I noticed a couple of Easter eggs hidden across the Cars franchise that got me thinking. Is the Cars world set in the human world after the fall of humanity? The By and Large logo can be seen in several scenes in the Cars world, for example, Lightning McQueen's trailer, as well as along the track that they race on. You also see the Pizza Planet truck in the third Cars movie, which also makes an appearance among the rubble of the Wall-E movie.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to know is, how did the Cars world come to be? How are the cars made? You do see baby cars in the movies, but they specifically mention that some cars are no longer manufactured in the second Cars movie. Is there some dark, menacing place on the planet, like in the movie The Matrix Revolutions, where machines build these cars? Is By and Large responsible for the destruction of Earth, which might have brought about the creation of the world for cars? The By and Large logo is also seen on the batteries for Buzz Lightyear's back. So did the toys rise up themselves and create the cars? Is By and Large to blame or to thank for the creation of our Cars universe? Which brings me to one last question. Does Lightning McQueen carry car insurance or health insurance? For the record, my wife looks at me like I'm an absolute nut for looking at a kid's movie in such a dark way. I blame my love for horror movies and John for making me watch Event Horizon. So
I love it.
This boils down to 3 questions. Okay. Do you have any general reactions before we get into this? He came up with this in about 10 minutes.
So I'm gonna send you a picture on chat, and there's a theory that came out about what these cars are, and I'm not quite so sure I agree with it. But I just want to send you a picture, John, and you're going to have a really weird reaction to it when you see this picture on Skype. So I'm sending you a picture in Skype.
In Skype, right, okay. So we're this is already getting. Yeah. This is a multimedia approach.
And so a lot of people have theories that the Cars world sort of takes place on a universe like our own, but entirely free of humans. But that doesn't make sense because there's still some of the same logos, right? So you wouldn't
have
the
elements
same
from Wall-E and from and Toy Story. The batteries are By and Large.
So some people think that it happened years later, thousands and thousands of years later, and the cars have evolved from that. But then there's also this really weird theory that there's people inside the cars and they're attached to the vehicle, and they use. Have you seen the picture yet?
No. So
they're saying that these people, like the Earth was destroyed and there weren't that many people left. So, this world is actually free of human people, and it's not as though humans never existed. The cars have like doors and windows and side view mirrors. All those are specifically designed for humans' use inside a car. But, they have the same written human language as we do. So, it would make no sense if you were a car. So they're saying that humans live inside these things. There are human beings inside the cars and are the source of the car's personality, intelligence, everything. The mechanical car is just the external body of these human-derived creatures. I call this the homunculus theory. And so they're saying that there's a body inserted, like in the Matrix, and they control the vehicle, and they never leave it because they could never control it. I don't believe that, but that's a theory out.
That seems like someone came up with something radical and clever over beer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I dislike the theory. I disagree with its validity for the evidence that we're given.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't agree with that. But I think this is obviously a world where language was created. Is it naive to think that our language would be the same on another planet? Yes, that would be very naive to think it would be the exact same, correct?
Fair.
So,
very fair.
Yeah, that'd be insane if an alien comes out. Hey, y'all. So these cars are on Earth.
I would say so,
Yeah.
especially with the overview of Pixar movie facts that Michael has laid in front of us. I'd say
Yeah.
it has to be Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably well in the future. A question is how far in the future. Is it between Toy Story and Wall-E? Is it after Wall-E? Is it after mankind period, let alone mankind on Earth? Like, what if Wall-E is just in one of many areas that's a huge, gigantic dumping ground wasteland, but another continent is like where Cars is?
Oh, think about this. These humans inside of the Wally vehicle, right? Inside of the Wally spaceship, they weren't walking. They were being carted around by
Because they were fat.
very intelligent, um, like wheelchairs.
Like hover chairs, yeah, like hover whatevers, yeah.
So when they go to Earth and have never walked a day in their life, they might have developed something similar to
So if they
cars.
returned to Earth when we saw the plant, you mean?
Yeah.
When we learned Earth was habitable again? So when they returned to Earth, did they, was that just year one out of maybe 300 years of gradual adaptation to some cybernetic android trajectory? And who knows if like a kind of Skynet thing happened with some self-awareness, some T2 self-awareness, and then you rolled into a Matrix situation where they really were in charge, but they're not necessarily pirating your human consciousness. It's just that at some point your consciousness is manifested as an embryo, put into a car, and that's your existence, and you're happy with that existence. You have control of that car.
Look at them in Wally, right? They are sitting down anyway. They're not moving. They're in these chairs all the time. They don't know how to walk. So I could really see them, like you said, forming this over hundreds of years, thousands of years into that kind of car.
I do feel though like this wouldn't have been purely on the human decision trajectory. I feel like at some point AI had a stronger hand and maybe started making decisions for us.
Well,
Like
didn't
we
it do
create
that in Wall-E? Didn't that Wall-E? Wall-E. Didn't it do that in Wall-E? The computer was too intelligent and they had to fight against the computer in Wall-E.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I think that was for the safety controls of the ship.
Yeah, but I mean that was kind of taken over. The safety controls sort of took over
Mhm.
already. So that exists, right? There could be a technology that sucks people into their vehicles.
I'm telling you, man, I'm going with the Skynet Matrix thing. No, just in a less nefarious way.
I mean,
Uh,
technology had already taken over their lives in Wall-E.
Yeah, like I mean it more like in the movie AI or Bicentennial Man, where it's doing what's best for mankind as it perceives it.
Everyone seems happy in the Cars world.
These,
Or
yeah, they do.
now, I want to say though, the writers had this to say: we try not to go there. We just try not to go there. There's a surreal level of disbelief that you're having to jump already coming into the world, and where you're talking, and when you there are talking cars. We think we know what cars are in our world, and they have serve a completely different purpose in the cars world. There's for transportation in our world, and they don't really transport each other in their world, so they become characters. We lean into that so much as we can and try not to get too hung up on surreal nuts and bolts, I guess. Even cars kicking is like kissing is like clank, hitting metal together. It's funny because you have these hunks of metal, but at some point you can't take it too far because it starts falling apart. But I think we just did it, John.
I'd even go Transformers
Yeah.
and Allspark.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be an Allspark situation. I think there are a lot of ways that this works.
Oh man. And also a guy did a thing where he just put body parts inside the cars.
Oh,
So
come
there's
on now.
brains.
This is this is fun for a horror conversation, but
Yeah.
it's pretty macabre for this conversation. I love that someone's saying these things.
But I like our idea because you saw the people in Wall-E were already happy to give themselves away to technology. So imagine them in a few hundred years.
Mhm. Or I mean, who knows even longer, right? Who
Yeah,
knows?
thousands of years.
1,000,
Yeah.
right?
And they could have seen the stores that were still there. They would have known about the battery